My name is Noelle, and I'm going to teach a class that's slow and deep, and really is the focus on a little bit more of not only the postures, but again, the esoteric practices of yoga, which is the inner practices on mind, what's happening in our mind, what's happening in our body, and how that translates into the big picture of who we are. And we will need some props in order to do this. So a couple of blocks if you have them, or items that you can use as blocks. A blanket maybe if you have, or a cushion to sit on to start. So when you sit on a cushion, you can do this on a pillow or anything of that nature that can lift your hips up, because we want the knees lower than the hips is the goal. And the reason we do this is it decreases tension in the hips and the groin, but also it starts to reduce tension in the lower back and into the organs, even into our kidneys. And the kidneys have huge function in our bodies, and when we reduce some of that pressure, we start to help the function of our body. So as I was mentioning, we're going to do a practice that's slow and deep and filled with more mindful practices. And so you can bring your hands to your thighs, palms facing down, and take a deep breath in. You can just feed your breath into your body. Yeah, and start to feel the resonance of your breath into your body. And if it feels appropriate, you're welcome to close your eyes. And deepen your breath. You'll begin to notice that with each inhale and exhale, there's more of maybe a landing in your body. Less of doing and more of experiencing. Experiencing just the sensation of your breath as it moves through your body. Let's add a little bit to the breath. So take your breath in full into your heart space, and then stop at the top of your inhale, and then full breath out through your heart space. So let's do this with the breath. So we'll do a two-part breath. Bring your breath into your heart space, halfway filled into your heart space, and the rest of your breath into your belly. And then one fluid breath out through your mouth. Let's do that again. Part breath into your heart, part breath into your belly, and then fill, fill, fill. At the top of your inhale, hover for a moment, and then full breath out through your mouth. Again, part breath into your belly, into your heart, and then into your belly, and full breath out through your mouth. We'll do this one more time, a little more attention to filling the whole circumference of your chest, of your heart, so full breath in, or part breath in. Remaining breath into your belly. Full breath out through your mouth. And then shake a little bit in your body, eyes closed or eyes open. Shake a little bit and feel like you're shaking out a little bit of the residue. Yeah. As you land even more just in your body, on your mat. And open your eyes and bring your feet together. So when you bring your feet together into butterfly, again, you can remain seated on your block or on your mat. We're really working at opening in the inner groin and the hips here. So with your feet together, press your feet in towards each other. So you're pressing in towards each other, you're getting an opposing action. So you press in towards each other, everything wakes up in the legs. We're going to fold just gently from the hips. So often there's a temptation around the chest. We're going to keep the spine long. This is key. So keep the spine long and fold from your hips. Yeah, and we really want this. So the hip to open versus dumping into the heart, right? Rounding the heart. This practice, moving slower, adds a new quality to our asana practice, our posture practice, because as we begin to move slower, we start to calm the nervous system, which is the purpose of this practice, is to ease anxiety, ease some stress, and reacquaint ourselves with the emotions and stories that are perpetuating that feeling in our bodies. Take another big breath in, stay here. Exhale out full through your mouth. Yeah, and we'll just sink a little bit further into this. And the thing about the asana practice, the postures, is that for me, it's really helped me deal with my own anxiety, my own stress. It helps reroute me into my body and takes me into the dialogue of my mind, but I don't become obsessed with the dialogue of my mind. I begin to feel that I'm more than my mind. I begin to feel into my body. Yeah, let's take one more round of breath in and out. Yeah, exhale. Now inhale, lift yourself up. We'll stay on our prop if you want, and extend your heels out. So you're in a V with your legs. As you're in the V, heels press down into the earth, toes lift. Okay, now keep pressing down through the heels so the legs are engaged. Toes, what I mean lifted, they're wide and spread. This keeps the feet engaged, which we want here. Then bring your fingers, tenting them beside your hips. And just start to fold gently forward. Yeah, from the hip creases. And as you fold gently forward from the hip creases, is soften your shoulders, deepen your breath. Yeah, soften your shoulders, deepen your breath. Okay. If it feels available in your hips, because we're just folding from the hips, you can bring your hands out in front of you. Now again, we're just starting to warm up, so we're not looking at going into a deep version of the pose. We're learning to be more patient with ourselves and to let the voice of your breath anchor you more into your body. Right? Little less chatter in the mind, more awareness into your body. Okay, and slowly bring yourself back up. We're going to pivot here on the mat. So cross your ankles to come off your prop and move your prop out of the way. Come onto your hands and knees. And once you get onto your hands and knees, bring your wrists underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And we'll slowly start to move the spine. So moving the spine for you may be this cat-cow action, which is rounding the back and then dropping the belly. Maybe it's barrel rolls in one direction and we'll switch to the other. Or maybe it's just a combination of all sorts of movements in the spine. Okay, whatever feels best for you, I want you to begin to deepen your breath into this. So as you move, filtering your breath into your body in a way that brings you more attentive to the inner landscape. And if you've been moving in one direction, shift it and move in the other direction. And let's take 2 more breaths in and out here. Big inhale. And then full exhale. One more time. Big inhale. And full exhale. Now staying with your knees underneath your hips, I'm going to move into Anahata Asana, which is a heart opening pose. And as you fold forward here, you're going to bow just your heart towards the earth and keep your knees underneath your hips. Either, which most of us will feel most comfortable, is placing your forehead down onto the earth, right? So if for some reason your chest feels a little bit more open, you can drop your chin there. But for the most part, forehead down to the earth. I'm just going to keep my head lifted just for the sake of audio. So stay with your breath. Right, and you're starting to notice maybe a richer connection to your body. Or maybe even if it's just simpler, just like more aware of your body. And then begin to breathe into the 4 quadrants of your heart. So the front, sides, and back. And as you breathe deep into the 4 quadrants of your heart, see if you can relax your shoulders a little bit more and soften your jaw. And take a full breath in and full breath out. Yeah, okay, we're going to come out of this. Keep your forearms to the earth. Draw your navel to your spine. And place yourself forward on your belly so that your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Think about that. Sometimes we'll end up with the elbows behind or more forward. So elbows underneath shoulders, 10 toenails to the earth, palms to your mat. Keep your heart lifted, soften your shoulders and your jaw. And sink into your breath. Just take a few breaths here to again open the heart and practice that softening in the jaw and the shoulders. And full breath in. Exhale it out. Okay. Gently place yourself down onto your chest. So chest is on the mat. Hands come chest height. So palms are chest height. Elbows look towards the wall behind you. Inhale, press up gently. Roll your shoulders open, soften your jaw. Take a big breath in. And exhale, lower yourself down. Okay, knees are going to stay to the earth for this version. Toes tuck. Press up onto your knees. And then bring your sit bones back to your heels. So you're kind of doing a version of child's pose, but with the toes tucked. Forehead comes down to your mat. And then inhale, come back forward, moving into down dog. So as we go back into down dog, the
The object of down dog isn't to take the heels down to the mat. It's to open the lower back, the hamstrings, and the hips. If you lock out your knees around your back, you lose this opportunity. So keep the knees slightly bent, tilt your booty, your pelvis up towards the sky, and again, soften your shoulders. Yeah, take a big breath in. And with your exhale, roll forward. So go gently, roll forward, coming into a plank. So toes under heels, wrists under shoulders. Either knees on the earth or knees lifted. You get to choose what serves you. And then come forward a little bit more if knees are lifted. Lower everything down to your mat at the same time. Toes on your mat, lift your heart. Big breath in. And exhale, lower. Okay, toes tucked. So either you're pressing up with knees on the earth or knees lifted, press up through plank. Back down dog. Again, once you arrive in down dog, rooting down through the mounds of your feet, but soft bending your knees in order to open the hamstrings. It's counterintuitive. We often think we have to straighten the legs to open the hamstrings, right? We want to create space here. Let's do one more vinyasa. Inhale, full breath in, and exhale, roll forward into a plank. Either knees to the earth or knees lifted. Come forward. Plant yourself down onto your mat, 10 toes. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, lower. Inhale, toes tuck, knees lift. Press into your hands or knees to the mat and find your way back into a down dog. We'll take 2 full breaths in and out here. Yeah, okay, shift your weight to your left foot. Float your right heel up. And slowly bring your right knee all the way forward, top of your mat. So the reason we have these props is you're welcome to either use your blanket or your cushion underneath your knee, your back knee, to support the knee, because left knee comes down to your mat. Okay, stay here, so bending into your front knee, making sure your front knee is aligned with your right heel. So right knee over right heel. Yeah, and then keep bending or keep taking weight into your front foot. And then press down to your back knee, and you'll start to feel things wake up, right? And then energetically draw your back knee and your front foot towards each other. In this simple pose, you should feel like things are efforting quite a bit as soon as you do that. As soon as energetically traction towards each other. Yeah? Okay, we're going to do a twist here. So bring your left elbow onto your right knee. If this feels sufficient, you can work a twist, bringing your right hand to your right hip, left hand maybe towards your left shoulder, or hands can come together in a prayer. And begin to draw navel to spine. Yeah, soften your collarbones, so kind of widen collarbones away from each other. And deepen your breath. Okay, another full breath in. Exhale, release. Bring your hands down to your mat, rolling back into Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. Press down to your front heel. So as you root down to your right heel, send the outer right hip back. Yeah? And that's going to line up the pelvis and also really wake up the hamstring. And then keep lifting with your heart. I mentioned that we have blocks of sorts, if you don't have blocks. Keep lifting with your heart. So use props as serves your body, so that we're not grounding and tensing in the heart and chest, because we all know we need a little bit less tension right now in the nervous system, right? So rounding the spine can help create tension in the neck, jaw, heart, which tenses the nervous system. So just be gentle there. So big breath in. Full breath out. Okay, inhale, come back forward onto your front foot. You can either keep your back knee on the ground or lift your back knee. Take your left hand to the floor, a little bit more under your left shoulder, so not too tight in towards the right foot. Bring your right hand onto your right hip and roll the top shoulder open. If your back knee is lifted, I want you to really press down through your left toes and lengthen that left leg. Draw your navel to your spine and roll your heart open. And so just stay here with your hand on your hip, engaging your legs. Yeah, so beautiful. And take a big breath in. Full breath out. And one more round of breath. And exhale, release your hands down to your mat. From here, you're going to need your props if you don't already have them. So bring your props underneath your shoulders, or your hands underneath your shoulders. Props there. And then start to press into your right foot, the front foot. And elongate your outer right hip back. So both legs are working towards straight. You're going to press into the left foot and lengthen the left leg. Lift your heart. Right, so long spine. And then send the outer hip back. Keep your navel moving towards your spine. And we want to maintain the long spine, so should you choose to fold here, it's a gentle fold from the hips. You know, with each asana, with each posture, we reacquaint ourselves, or maybe acquaint for the first times in our bodies. You know, we reacquaint with the feelings, the sensations in our bodies. This is super important. We notice that the longer we go without paying attention to what's happening in our bodies, the more disconnected we feel internally, and that transmutes into the mind. And begins to transmit our experience. So use your breath with this collective inner wisdom to quiet a little bit and to listen. Yeah, one more full breath in. Exhale. Okay. If you have blocks, turn the block under your left hand to the highest height, okay? And then press into your right foot and bring your right hand to your right hip. So this leg is working towards straight. Roll the top shoulder open. Yeah, big breath in. Okay, and then press into your back foot. Lift your left knee a little bit higher. So keep that leg engaged as you roll open and work this twist. One more round of breath. Lift your hand up if that feels good in your shoulder. Okay, and exhale, release. Take your hands back to your blocks and bend into your front knee. Move your blocks out of the way. Bring your hands to the earth. Lift your back knee. Step back into a down dog. Okay, you can move your prop out of the way because we'll be flowing through a vinyasa. So knees slightly bent, press pelvis up towards the sky. And then with your next inhale, take in a full breath. And exhale, we flush it out as a roll forward into a plank. Either knees to the earth or knees lifted. Find your way down to the earth. Inhale, lift your heart. Big breath in.
exhale, lower. Inhale, toes tuck and knees to the earth or knees lifted. Navel to spine. Press up and back into a down dog. Yeah, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Shift your weight to your right foot. Left heel lifts. Breath is full. Exhale, bring your left knee forward. And then if you want to prop under your right knee, take it. Yeah. So, blocks can be handy if you want. So you're going to take your hands to your front knee, shift your weight to your left foot, and try and set your left knee under your left heel under your left knee. Pressing down through your right knee. Energetically draw the back knee towards the front foot, and vice versa, front foot towards back knee. It's going to wake up everything here in the pelvis, in the legs, right? And then soften your jaw. And we'll stay here for a little bit. Right? We do this practice because we're taking care of the inner landscape, right? Just like we do when we wake up in the morning and we eat breakfast or eat our meals through the day, is we're taking care of what our body needs. This practice does the same thing. This is why it's such an important practice in my life, is because it tends to the places within myself which I feel like I can't control and that I don't need to control. I just need to listen to. I just need to learn to nurture and nourish through it being attentive and slowing down. Okay, big breath in. And with your exhale, I'm going to turn my back to the camera, bring your right elbow onto your left knee and hands together. If you want, from one hand to your hip and one hand to the shoulder maybe. So do what serves you. Draw your navel to your spine. See if you can broaden through your collarbones. And again, get quiet and listen to your breath. Release your hands to the mat. Roll back on your left heel. Use blocks or props as it serves you. As you come onto your left heel, press that into your mat. Send the outer left hip back, lift your heart. So you've been noticing and breathing into your body now for a little while. What is it your body's saying to you? Not what your mind is trying to tell you to say, but what is your body saying to you? Soften your jaw. Yeah, another deep breath in. And then exhale, come forward onto your front foot. Lift yourself up. So as you come up, we're going to bring the blocks into play here. So bring your blocks under your hands, lift your back knee, and press into your front foot. Send the outer hip back. I know I missed a pose. Don't worry, I'll come back to it. So press into your front foot. Send the outer left hip back. Lift your heart. Press into your left toes. Lift your left knee. Excuse me, into your right toes and lift your right knee. Breathe into your heart space. A little bit more gentle with your eyes and your
jaw. Yeah, and then if there's some place to fold, again, as we did on the other side, you can fold from the hips, keeping the spine long. Being gentle. Okay. Take your weight onto your right hand and bring your left hand, and you will probably need to do this with a prop higher, your blocks higher. Okay, bring your left hand to your left hip. Press down into your left foot. Lengthen your left leg, so keep working that. You're gonna feel this, even in the IT, the outside of the leg. Roll your shoulders open, yeah, and look towards the left. Keep pressing through the right toes. That right leg is strong. Navel to spine, roll your shoulders open. A big breath in. Then maybe reach your top hand up towards the sky. Soften your shoulder, so relax it a little bit more. Fullness of breath. Quiet the mind. Just for a breath. One breath in, one breath out. And bring your hand back to your hip. Bend into your front knee. Place your hand, right hand, and I didn't mention this on the other side, but you can use a block under your hand too here, especially if your hips feel tight, okay, which our hips always feel tight, okay? And then bend into your front knee, so your left knee, bring your left hand to your left hip, shift your weight into your right hand, keep pressing through your back knee and front knee, and roll your left shoulder open, and sink in here. Yeah, soften your jaw, deepen your breath. And full breath in. Nice. Okay, breath out. Bring your hands back to the earth. We're going to step back into down dog and move your prop out of the way. Okay, with your knees bent, shift your weight to your right foot. Bring your left heel up and slowly hug your left knee into your chest. Now pivot on that back foot and walk yourself. So you're going into a side lunge with your back knee bent, which is your right knee, and your left heel to the floor. You may want to block here. Okay, we're going to work on this side opener for a few breaths. So bring your right hand down to the mat or a block, and left hand to your left hip. Yeah, and then press through your front heel and open your heart. And then just gently relax your lips and soften your eyes. Okay, breath in. And as you exhale, we're going to shift to the other side. So you're going to bend into the left knee. Take your right heel up. Left fingertips to the floor. Right hand to your right hip. I didn't say this on the other side, but if you've got knee stuff, you can always come onto one knee. Use a prop underneath the knee. Or maybe a cushion between here if it feels too much for a pinch, depending what's going on in your knee. We'll take a breath in. Yeah, pressing down to the front heel. Okay, and then let's shift. Exhale. We'll do one more of these on each side. So either you can work the balance, which is hands off the mat, or you can bring your hand to the earth. Rolling your top shoulder open. Breath is full. One more round of breath in and out. And then we're going to switch. So we're going to switch, bending into the left knee, right heel to the floor. Yeah. Working balance or bringing one hand to the earth. Full breath in. Exhale it out. Nice. Okay, come back to center. You're gonna pivot your toes. So we're gonna go into straight legs, toes pivot inward, hands either to blocks or to the floor. And as you fold here, you're pressing down through your feet. So the pinky toe sides of your feet, lengthening up your legs, and then folding from your hips. Nice, and then as you fold from your hips, you let your head hang. And so that's gonna look different in each of our bodies. Just find that perfect balance here where you're really efforting through the feet and the legs, but there's releasing in the spine and the head, the neck. Full breath in. Yeah, beautiful, graceful breath out. One more round, full breath in. Exhale it out. And inhale, walk your hands underneath your shoulders. And we're gonna pivot so that we'll walk hands back to the top of your mat, plant your palms, step back into down dog. Yeah. Shift your weight to your left foot, lift your right heel up, and then bring your right knee forward, going into pigeon pose, also known as Ekapada Rajakopatasana. So once in pigeon, right knee frames the mat. So the right knee is out to the right, right heel is under right hip. Left toes are tucked, and then lift your left knee and see if you can shimmy your toes out behind you a little bit more. Beautiful. And then keep pressing through both knees. So the temptation might be to drop that left hip forward or sit on the right. And I want you to keep pressing into your knees. So you're engaging your foundation, and then you softly lower your pelvic floor. So not your right cheek, your pelvic floor towards the mat. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, you can fold here. You know, if you have props, you're welcome to fold onto the props. This is really nice. If your head comes down to, if you can lower a little bit more and you can take a prop underneath your temple, then do so. So you can do this with blocks or props at any height. And then relax your jaw and your eyes. And remember, so much of this practice is about the reacquaintance with our bodies and how that relationship is so much more profound in most ways than the relationships with our thoughts. And stay with your breath. Do one more round of inhale, exhale. When you're ready, bring your hands to the mat. Okay? Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. And use your navel to your spine to move you back into down dog. Yeah? Tailbone lifts. And press into your hands, soften your shoulders. And same thing other side, so lift your left heel up, bring your left knee forward. Yeah, so going pigeon pose, left side, bringing your left knee out to the left side of your mat. Right knee to your mat. Yeah, okay, and then tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, shuffle your toes a little bit more out behind you, and then take your knee to the earth. And lower your pelvis. Keep your heart lifted, chest lifted, breath full. And stay here. Yeah. Again, press pressing into your back knee, your front knee, not sitting on your left cheek. Just lowering the pelvis. And when you're ready, moving slow, take your forearms, maybe down to a prop, down to the earth, shoulders soft. And if it serves, you can bow yourself more forward here. Rest your head on a prop. Temple, it's really nurturing for the nervous system. It's placing something, between your eyebrows and resting down onto that. Another round of breath. Simmer into that. When you're ready, lift yourself up, and then move your prop, if you have one, out of the way, and then just pivot. So you sit on your left cheek and turn yourself. You can go into cross-legged. So we will be going into Shavasana, but I want to thank you first for joining me for a slow and deep class at Baluyoga and Wellness in Revelstoke, and hope you enjoyed it. When we go to lay down in Shavasana, I will end at some point with my settling us into Shavasana. You can stay for as long as you want. 10 minutes is a beautiful amount of time to stay in Shavasana, but you don't have to. You can just lay for whatever serves you. So when you're ready, shift yourself. Shavasana, if you have a blanket with you, you can lay your blanket down on top of you. Widen your feet apart so they're more than mat width apart, and place your shoulder blades onto your mat, and rest your hands so that palms are turned up, jaw is soft, and breath is also softening. Yeah, and you just feel the qualities of your body as you slowly begin to release more and more with each exhale. Yeah, just allowing your breath to be your focal point. See if you can keep or continue to create a little bit of space between thoughts in Shavasana.